the most. Peps and J-Dog ready to rock your ears with a momentous episode of Lace Our Proportions. I'm your host, Christopher Pepper. The great man is with me, Jamie the J-Dog Wallace, and we'll have a chat to him in just a moment. But by Jingo, by crikey, what an absolute belter of a weekend of football. I've said it before, there was beltings and there was belters. Your team played in one. I had the craps get out of me for the second week in a row. I actually stayed this time, but football was the winner across the board. Great man, how are you going? And more importantly, how did you recover after a heart stopper of Saturday night football?
Hey everyone. I was fine. Peps. I was fine. We're going to talk about this in a little bit later. But no, game was good. All the games are good except for West Coast.
West Coast. We'll get into West Coast in a minute.
All the games were good, Peps, and it was not a bad round of football to just sit back and test the ticker over the weekend.
As they would have said in the classics, football was the winner today, my friends. The old Dipier Domenico type interview in the middle of the season. But hey, everybody who's joining us tonight live, great to see everybody on the chat, everybody listening to this on your favorite podcast episode, podcast player, Smart App, you name it. Thank you very much.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, OnlyFans. Only Peps is apparently coming out soon. Only Dog will be out very, very...
Only Dog.
Only Dog.
That actually could be a legitimate site.
Only Dog. Only Dog. Only Doggy. Hey, we'll put both of it together. But, mate, football was awesome. There was no local footy for my amazing East Keilor Football Club this week. They had a week. The league had a bye for their Premier Division. So we'll get back into that a little bit later on. But pulled down a shed, J-Dog. We're getting some concrete laid tomorrow, a la Greek style, next to the brand new swimming pool.
Mm-hmm.
We had to do a bit of groundwork, landscape work, and that's what I got to do before heading over to the Melbourne Past Players and Officials Day at the MCG yesterday. Got to run out with great Chris Connolly, have a chat to him. He gave me an interesting fact, which is, did you know that there's been no team who has won after the siren that has gone on to win 1 week later?
Sounds like a shit fact. That's a shit fact.
That's a shit fact. Wait, where's your microphone tonight? Because you're coming through a little bit thin. What's going on?
Am I?
You haven't got the big boy on tonight.
Let's have a look. What have I got? Oh yeah, no, I see why.
You see why?
Yeah, I see why.
Yeah. Good to see me. Let's see why. Are we back now?
I think we're back. Are we back now?
Oh, there you go. Apparently, look, see, now we're back in the not amateur hour. Hey, but hey, everybody who's joining us live, thank you very, very much. The numbers are going absolutely Coco Bananas, Mick Malloy style. How was your weekend before we get into the footy side of things? Because everybody wants to know what the J-Dog got up to.
Yeah, good weekend. Peps, I was involved in a bit of a bike accident over the weekend, actually.
Yeah, you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. But yeah, when you have a touch of wheels at 45 to 50k an hour, it tends to be pretty nasty. So I'm actually okay. I was the last in the line, so I actually had half a second to react.
You were at the back of the pack.
Back of the pack, but
because you do like to be at the rear, don't you?
Well, that's the most important spot to be.
You
but
I had dogs.
I had friends caught up in it. I had lots of thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of bikes broken.
Yep. There was no dickhead trying to take a photo Tour de France style, was there?
No. We had a crash on the Barwon Heads Bridge. You know, that white bridge between.
Beautiful bridge. It's a beautiful bridge. Right near the Ferris wheel.
Yeah, just the other side of it, on the Ocean Grove side.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, we're all fine. No lives are lost. Bit of carbon broken, but we're all here to talk about it on Monday.
Beautiful. Hey, that's it. You know, there's nothing worse than your carbon being broken. But you know what, J-Dog? There were hearts being broken on the weekend as we have a look at the ladder, and it is shaping up. I reckon you had it right last week. I reckon the top four is pretty much locked. I still am a bit weary on Melbourne, even though they're 2 games clear. They have got some toughies over the next few weeks. But Collingwood, after their cracker of a game, we're going to get into that very, very shortly because you had an absolute belter of a game. That was, let's just say, the game of the year, and I'm going to get into my votes because that game got votes. Brisbane Lions, what a first half against the Cats. They were absolutely putrid against them. But I think Brisbane, their defence was tough. It was strong. It was something that we haven't seen from Brisbane for a while, I would say. That's the best game I reckon they've played, I'd say, all year, in my humble opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Melbourne, yeah, look, tell you what, talking about trying to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, they did that on the weekend, but Adelaide were pretty good, and their best player is now out for probably the rest of the season, so them actually having a chance of making finals has gone out the window. Isaac Rankin with that hammy. Western Bulldogs demolished Essendon. St Kilda. There's not much more we can say about shit Kilda because they were shit Kilda because they almost got North on the weekend. Geez, that would have been funny. How good would it have been if Buzzard joined us tonight? I bet you he doesn't join us because they got beaten. GWS, geez, they've come out of nowhere, haven't they? Like a lot of people picking GWS for bottom 4, but Adam Kingsley's got this team absolutely humming. They're only a couple of games out of the 8 as well, too, and probably got a favourable draw as well. Geelong, after their weekend, even though they lost, they have snuck in. Carlton on 38, 5 games in a row they've won. Got a beautiful stat about them very, very shortly. Richmond on 38. Talk about a heart stealer as well, too, against the Hawks. Jeez, I don't know how many times the Hawks have done it this year, but another game where they could have pinched and they just haven't been able to get across the line. Essendon a poo. Sydney a poo. Adelaide a poo. Gold Coast a disappointingly poo. Fremantle are very much poo because they got beaten by Sydney, and I picked Freo. Hawthorn, they're not as poo as everybody thinks. North could not have been any more better, but they are still poo, sitting there in the position of 17th. And West Coast, I don't think there's anything more that I can say about West Coast other than the magnets being spun. But how far are you willing to go down, J-Dog, in terms of teams that can make the 8? Will you go, I'll read these teams out. Would you go Carlton?
Yep.
Richmond?
Yep.
Essendon?
Yep.
Sydney?
No.
Okay, so you're saying there's 11 clubs going to fit into 8 spots.
Yep. What about you?
Me, I would say yes. And the reason I'd say that is...
What are you saying yes to?
Yes, it is going to be those 11 teams. No, simply because Essendon have North and West Coast still to play.
Yeah.
2 wins.
Yeah.
So they're pretty much going to make it. And the great man, Rohan Eggleston, absolute superstar, another one of the life member 300 game players at the East Keeler Football Club. He actually picked Richmond on his Tiger tracker that he sends us every single year that they are going to finish 9th. So he's going by the belief that they will be 9th. Carlton are going to miss and Essendon are going to make it just because they've got those couple of easy games. Carlton don't have an easy run, I believe. They've got Melbourne coming up. They've got Collingwood this week. But tell you what, if they get across the line, they have earned it after what they did in the middle of the season.
Yeah, they just need a better percentage.
Yeah,
To finish 9th.
They've just got to win. They have just got to win. Hey, Buzz is online. I'd love to hear from you, Buzz man, after your mob almost got beaten by North. And I can tell you what, there was 17 other clubs cheering for North Melbourne yesterday.
I was one of them.
And I was one of them as well, too. Geez, that would have been funny rocking up because they should not have won that game.
I was doing Sunday. I think I went to a baptism on Sunday. Came back and I was just pottering around the house and I'm like, oh, 4th quarter. I might just see what the scores are. Just have a bit of a look. I was very, very happy what I was seeing with North in the front.
Hey, they're a good North. I'll tell you what, North have copped a lot this year. But I think, look, Ratton's done a sensational job while Clarkson's away. And for all the crap that Ratton copped this week from Nick Rewalt, what a comeback he said in his comments that, I think the only time I've seen him down at the club is when he's getting free physio.
Yeah.
Loved it. Doesn't deserve one iota of that. And let's be honest, St Kilda haven't really done much with Ross this year, except fall in a complete heap again, 2 seasons in a row. So I reckon you're right, mate. There's the only 3 teams outside the 8, and I don't think Richmond's going to be one of them. So my theory of Richmond not making finals this year is going to come true, but the other one of Collingwood not making finals pretty much has fallen on its face after, I think, round 1.
Yeah.
All right, big guy. What do you want to do? Spin some magnets?
Sure, go for it.
Oh, let's spin some magnets. What do you want to go with, the big boys or the bad boys first?
Let's go big boys.
Big boys.
3 votes.
All right. Did you hear the 3 votes just then?
Yes.
I just want to make sure, because after over 300 episodes, I still haven't worked out how to work this thing. All right, votes. I've got to give 3 votes to arguably the best game of 2023, the Power versus the Pies. I'll get you to go on to that very, very shortly. The best game of 2023. Besides the Lions and Demons game, which happened the week before, which was arguably the best game of 2023. Like, seriously. What's going on, J-Dog? How can you have one week being the best game and there's another best game? Can we just make a judgment call at the end of the year? North Melbourne versus St Kilda. If North had won that would have been the best game of the year.
Or Richmond Hawthorn.
Best game of the year. So I just think that, it was great. I must admit, though, it was finals caliber football. I thought you guys had them on toast early, and I think you've worked out a way to play against Collingwood, and I'm going to get into that very, very, very shortly, because I think I found their kryptonite.
Ooh.
Second one. Yeah, I think I found their kryptonite. There's 3 things you need to do. First of all, Carlton's resurgence. The last 5 wins on an average of 50 points, J-Dog. 50 points. Now, I want to put this thing to you, though. Did you know the sides to win 5 in a row in the VFL AFL timeframe and to do it by more than 50 points? There's only 3 teams that have done it ever. In 1989, Geelong, 6 in a row by 50 points. 2008, Geelong. And 2023, Carlton. Here's the concern, Jamie. In 1989, Geelong won 6 in a row by 50 points, made the grand final, lost.
Mm-hmm.
In 2008, they made the grand final against Hawthorn, lost. Carlton, will they even make finals? Whoa! It's all for nothing if you don't get there in September or win it in September. So, like the great man Ken Hinkley said, premierships are not won in July. They've never given a premiership out in July, so anything can happen. In the last one, I'm going to give myself a massive pat on the back because simply I stayed to the end on the game on the weekend. I stayed all the way until the end of the game. Melbourne versus Adelaide. 4 points. It was hard to do. My heart was beating, but you know what? I did it for the people. And I did it for all you listeners. And
I like that.
Mind you, the tweets, the texts, and the Facebook messages of "Did you actually stay this week?" did flow through pretty quick. Hey, it's good to see the great man Louis Carranza. He was a superstar for the Cougars too, number 48. Richmond should beat Melbourne this week. Yeah, I reckon they're a massive chance, and we'll get into the games later on this week too. But Buzz Rote says, I couldn't give a rat's toss bag who wanted North to win. They didn't, and you know why they weren't good enough. Well, what does that say about your mob? Buzz, they're shit. And Ross has done nothing for this club, and your players are overrated. And your list is overrated.
I feel like I'm just here as like the sidekick to you having vendettas against people.
Yep, you are. You're a good cop. You're a good cop. Hey, J-Dog, I'm going to drag someone. You ready?
Yep, go for it.
Haley off, Ellingworth on. Bloody weak as piss.
All right. First and foremost, I've brought this up many years, and I reckon we bring this up 3 or 4 times a year, and it does my head in. The absolute dickwads, cockbreaths, dickheads that racially vilified Willie Rioli. He's just changed his name back after a year of mourning for his dad's passing. And then it happens again. And in a year where we're trying to get the voice brought across into the Constitution of Australia, this is just a national disgrace. What does this say about people if we're in 2023 and we're still going on about this? I don't think it's ever going to go, but that's when you have simple-minded keyboard warriors.
There's nuffies, mate.
There's nuffies.
There's just nuffies, and they'll never learn, and I don't ever want to waste a breath on them because they won't learn.
They won't learn, and you know what? They should be publicly blasted who these people are. They should be.
Well, the clubs have, I think, acted in whatever they can do.
Yeah, they can only do what they can only do, but it's just putrid. Like these guys want to get their name up in lights. Let's really put it up in lights and let's see what happens. I've got to throw these guys in there, and it was more of a statistical side of things. West Coast. Now we've talked about virtually all year. Actually, probably our show's been going 6 years, and I reckon 5 out of the 6 years. Well, would be 5 out of the 6 years. They've been putrid. Do you know this year at the moment they've got a 1-win, 48% season. Now, they play North this week over in Perth, and that's not guaranteed. Now, this is how much of a disgrace this club is, and they've got no excuses. In 1996, the Fitzroy Football Club had literally no assets, struggled to pay players, financially inept. They had 1 win at 49.47%. So they had literally nothing, no ground, supporter base they did, but from a resources perspective at the bottom.
Yeah, nothing, no club rooms, nothing. Yep.
West Coast, the most resourced club, they've got like 50 plus million in the bank, and they're serving up this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's going to get worse. You can't tell me they haven't bottomed out.
No, not at the moment.
Pop quiz, if you're in charge of West Coast, you've got the number one pick. Do you go Harley Reid with one, or do you go and try and split that pick over probably maybe 2 to 3 first rounders over a couple of seasons?
I would split and go for two top
They have
top tens.
They have to. One is not going to change their fortune. If they can get 2 or 3, we've spoken about the 3 that you brought in 2018.
Oh, thank
And it
you.
made
You just
massive-
give me a topic for a conversation
There you go.
one time.
Now, so West Coast, you know, we're not sitting back here in the eastern states. We're actually laughing at you because 5 years ago you won a flag and now you're going to win another spoon. Rightio. Now, I'm bringing in an honorary drag. Now, I'm dragging not this person, but I'm dragging him in for dragging the AFL. Now, I'm talking about Chris Scott, and love him or hate him, I love his honesty when it comes to Chris Scott at the AFL and when he does his interviews, press conferences. And he said this about the wild card weekend. We have, in elite sport by global standards, one of the most compromised competitions that you can possibly imagine. Uneven numbers, games against opponents. Let's just throw in a gather round, compromise the competition even more, and if things really, really, really are important, they are worthy of thought. I would just ask that the integrity of the competition is given as much thought. Let's be honest. What is wild card weekend? I thought it was a good idea, and then I realised, no, he's got a fair point. He played 24 rounds of football, 23 taking out the bye, to qualify for the final spot. And you know what? If you're just not good enough in picks numbers, 8 and 9, 9 and 10, we will give you a participation medal to play against numbers 7 and 8 who truly deserve to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And it just shits me. We haven't even had a head of football at the AFL for close to a year now. Since Brad Scotland.
Yeah.
What type of sport doesn't even have a head of football who looks after all the rules, who looks after all of that stuff? We are a disgrace. You can't tell me they couldn't find anyone by now.
I just want a weekend that's not a theme. That'd be nice.
Oh.
How about a no-theme weekend?
But they would have a theme then.
I just want a round of football that doesn't have a theme, doesn't have something behind it.
It just gives me
emotional, damn it.
every single time I think about it, J-Dog. Hey, J-Dog,
Yes, mate.
before I know you've got a massive piece to come up, but I want to give a bit of this action. Bags, bags, bags. We love it when they're kicking. Bags, bags, bags. It's got to be 6 or more. Well, it was 6 or more on the weekend. It was actually more than 6. It was.
You wanted 10. You got 10.
And it was that big fella, Charlie Curnow. Geez, I tell you, is he a dead set spunk rat?
100%.
Oh, whoever's bringing him home to the family, lock him in because he is a dead set ripper. But 10, would you classify 10 against West Coast as a proper 10, or would it be like a soft 3?
No, I'd give it. You said 6 a bag. I'd give it a 5.
Yeah, it's
a 5 or a 6.
well,
It's a 5 or a 6.
I think he's kicked 15 goals this year against West Coast.
Yeah.
So here's my idea, right? And
But
look,
10,
I'm not
but no one else has kicked 10 against them.
I never kicked 10. I did kick 5.5. But I've never kicked 10.
No one else has kicked 10 against them.
No. Yeah, they have.
Who?
They did it against West Coast as well this year. And it was only a couple of weeks ago.
Kicked 10.
Taylor Walker.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you forgot about that.
Yes.
But anyway, my idea is that, you know how they're saying that if you play the team twice, you get it's unfair because some teams play the crappy ones twice. And so here's my idea. The first time you play them, it's worth 4 points. And the second time you play them, it's only worth 2 points. What do you think the percentage? What do you reckon?
No.
Why not?
Because you're talking about a compromise thing and you're trying to compromise it more with points.
No, but it means that the first game you play against them is the real game.
Listeners, have your say on Peps's idea. It's a 24 week season, and the first time you play the team, it's worth 4 points, but the second time you play them, it's only worth 2.
Yeah. So if you go and play West Coast, it's only worth a guaranteed 2 points, not a 4 points. Actually, that won't really make much difference, would it?
No.
No, it doesn't. Oh, well, then what happens if it's a draw? You get 1 point?
1 point? I don't know.
Oh.
Your system is so... Maybe you should be head of AFL operations.
I didn't really think about this one too much. Oh.
Listeners, please jump on and let us know.
It looked, Buzz, we can't leave the game alone. No one can leave the game alone. Jesus Christ.
That is the...
Is if I go by myself.
Can we edit that out for the show?
Which part?
Just that last 3 minutes of you talking about your
That's
stuff.
going to go viral. That's just going to go virus. As I was telling the young kids yesterday, and they were correcting me. No, it's viral. All right, big boy. Hey, rising star this winter. We've got a rising star, and it's another one from the Brisbane Football Club.
Also, some bad rising star news.
Oh, yes. Do you want to go through the bad rising star before I give you the good rising star? You go.
Well, no, for me it's good. Because you asked me 2 weeks ago who's going to win the rising star, and I said my man Cheezel, and you said no chance.
He's no,
it's Crofts.
No, it's not. I'm going with no. It's not going to be. No, it's not Ashcroft.
You said it was going to be Ashcroft. That's who you said it was going to be.
Mitch Owens, mate.
Oh, you said Mitch Owens, did you?
Mitch Owens is my boy. Mitch Owens is my boy.
Anyway, Ashcroft did an ACL first season. Probably when Peps and I put our guns down, we can probably agree is probably leading the and terrible news.
He should win it with 5 games. He's going to miss the last 5 games, and Mitchy Owens is going to come back and win me close to 900. Hey, Jasper Fletcher. So we've already had one father-son. Now we've got another father-son. I love the cut of this man's jib as well too. But he has played obviously every game since round 14, kicking 3 goals, averaging 14.3 disposals. He's just doing everything right. He had a cracker of a game on the weekend. Remember, his dad played for the Brisbane Lions between 93 and 97. He was picked up with pick 12 in the 2020 NAB draft as well too. So he's only a few games into his career, but just seeing him live the other week, that boy can play some
clunk.
And he can play some football, and he does love a clunker as well too. But yeah, definitely to see Will Ashcroft go down with a bad knee is...
At what age does a young player not fly for every mark about 9.5 foot above the ground? What age do you become?
I stopped at 36.
Because you're definitely like, you see the young guys come in, and for the first 3 years they just try and fly over 6.5 foot men, and then it just sort of stops.
Cozzy Pickett's been doing it every week for like the last 6 weeks, trying to get a touch, and then you just realise if I actually just run around the ground, I'll get it. I just let him fly. Let him be peacocks.
Nah, he was good.
He's an absolute gun. So congratulations to you, young fella. And just on the Ashcroft thing, look, I know Petrarca did his knee before his first season he ever played, and has come back and had a cracking year, or cracking season since then, or cracking career so far. So just, it's a tough one, but I think that up at Brisbane, he's going to be surrounded by the right people, and he's going to go all right too. So he's going to be nice. Hey, big boy.
Yes.
Is it time for you?
It's time for me.
Do I put the music on, or do we just...
Well, no, I'm going to roll into it.
All right, roll into it. Hey, everybody, round of applause for the great man, Jamie the J-Dog Wallace, with J-Dog time.
Me time. So, Peps, because I am a 47.1% stakeholder in our Lace Out business, I've decided that I'm going to coup this podcast and just go straight in and not get signed off by you, not get signed off by the board, not get signed off by your lovely wife to say, I'm doing a new segment, I'm bringing this in. I'm going to stop the news for a little bit. And that's because the news is boring and it's not consistent. And some things that are good, we're going to talk about it anyway. But really, what I want to talk about, Peps, is just footy. And here is my first topic for tonight. We might have 2 topics, we might have 1. I don't even know. We're just going to roll off with where we're going. The first question I have, Peps.
Yes.
What type of AFL supporter are you? Can I preface this right?
Yep.
There were some very angry people after the Port Adelaide Collingwood loss. right? Very angry, blaming the umpires.
From which side?
From Port Adelaide side. I'm only speaking from Port Adelaide side. Very angry. The world's going to end. It's the worst thing that's ever happened. The umpires are this, the players are that. And I want to understand, why do people have this such anger that burns in them? Because I didn't really, and I had an angry phase, Peps. Did you have an angry phase when you're supporting? Probably now, even you're probably angry.
When does the phase actually finish?
See, I stopped getting angry at around 2020. Between 2011 to 2020, I was an angry supporter. Like, I would get like, don't talk to me, and it's going to ruin my whole weekend if we lost. And I would seethe on it for a very long time if we lost the game, and I'd hold that. But I just don't get that involved anymore in it, and I don't know if it's just me or if it's our listeners have the same sort of thing, because now I'm more of a thing that go, not the umpire's fault, it's going to be something we've done that's caused the loss, and it's not all doom and gloom.
You know, you are talking to the bloke that walked out of a game last week because he.
Well, there's levels to it. I think there's levels.
Yeah. I'm. Look, it's not the end of the world. If I can't get to a game, I get disappointed because I like going to the footy. Full stop. Just for everything, I get to spend time with my dad. I see the same people who've been sitting there for goodness knows how many years, so that's always a bit of a laugh as well too. I get to take my daughter along. Noah likes to come along occasionally as well too. It's just everything. You can just be a complete flog in a fun way, and it's just you know what, for what you're paying and what you're getting, it is the best entertainment. Like, there is nothing that can make your head spin and your heart beat faster than a close game of football when it's just ebbs and flows, and you're going, you know, your team gets out the 5 goals, but you know it's not over, and you can see teams coming back, and you're frustrated, and you've got supporters around you, they're knobs, but you know they're knobs, and you're being a knob, but at the end of the game, you can look at each other and go, you're a good knob, and he goes, you're a good knob too, mate, and you just have a bit of a laugh.
Okay.
That's what I love about football. I don't love football, but there are people that take it way, way too far.
Are you a yeller? Are you a yeller at the game?
I'm a yeller. I'm a yeller. I do yell, but I don't. It's more of a frustration yell, and I think it's when I'm a massive umpires. This is a joke, and look, I'm only sort of referencing it from if you go and watch local footy, and then you go and watch AFL. The way local football is umpired is 10 times better because they just call it for how they see it.
Mm-hmm.
From an AFL perspective, it just seems like we've spoken about hands in the back, diving, ticky touch wood free kicks. They don't pay that at a local level. It's just 2 umpires running around. They call it straight away. They don't, holding the ball in the back. It's pretty clear cut what they pay.
So can I ask this question then?
Yep.
The way that the game is televised in an elevated view with 15 cameras and all of that, has that made people angrier as supporters because they see the nothings and then they see the all-ofs, like the throws out of the packs and the holds and the grabs?
All right, I will tell you why. Look, so Bo Hawkins has joined us, and he says, I love going to the footy and giving a kanga after we kick goals. I like the way he said goals because for a long time they've only been kicking a goal. Now they're kicking multiple. It makes it a lot more fun to be around. So good on you, Bo, for having a crack at the footy. But you know what? Here's one thing. I think I don't like the way the game's commentated.
Yep.
I don't think it has much to do about the football, and it has all to do about the people commentating it. And I think that pisses a lot of people off. And I did get on the tweets on the weekend and just listening to, because I had to pick my daughter up from the other side of town on Saturday night, so I didn't get to see a bit of the second half.
Yep.
And I just had a bit of a little read of the tweets whilst I was waiting for her to come out from where she was. And the feedback on the commentary was just brutal. And I'm the same. I can't stand the Friday night teams. The one thing I really loved, I loved the Channel 10 commentary when that was on. When Tim Lane was doing it, I just thought it was and Robert Walls, etc. I just thought it was awesome because they just talked about the game. They didn't make it all about me. Oh well, teams are down by 50 points. Oh, they're a chance. No, they're not. Stop trying to it's all that shit that
Okay.
a lot of people get pissed off with.
The barracking sort of thing a little bit.
The stupid, the Captain Obviouses of the world. We just don't like it. Like
How old were you when you really started following football? Like because you're a player, you played since you've been a junior.
Yeah, I started playing when I was 10.
So when were you like a real Melbourne, like, I want to know how Melbourne went, I'm going to watch the game, I'm going to get involved in the Melbourne stuff?
Oh, dude, every week. Oh, I reckon from grade 4, grade 5.
Okay.
We used to go watch Melbourne every week. They'd go to. I used to go to footy clinic, which was Auskick.
Yep.
Then go straight down. Now I've got my brother with my superstar nephew Jack, and my amazing niece Ali. They go to the footy too. They love it.
Yep.
Absolutely love the footy, and I think it's one of those things that you either love it or you don't, and that's fine. But it's just in my family, it's Melbourne. Like everybody's Melbourne.
Yeah.
So
See,
we
I think
tend to celebrate it. We tend to enjoy it together. Like you can see that the background. You know, we've won one flag, and goodness gracious, have I enjoyed it.
See, I have enjoyed football, but I don't think I really got into it and the love of it until I was like 16-ish, 15, 16, where I absolutely like nuffy football. But I think whether it's just mellowing out a little bit about football, not because I don't enjoy the game as much, but I just sort of go, it doesn't impact my life as much as I probably let it.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, and then there's players out there. So, for example, there are people out there who will go to and I know you're one, so this is not a dig at you, but you go to the after game stuff or the pre-game stuff with the players, and they talk about the game and the plan and those sorts of things. My question is, when you go to those things, are you expecting to hear something different that makes you less angry, or do you know that the clubs are just going to roll out the standard lines? Like, why do you choose to go to those?
Oh, look, I don't get to go to a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
I have been quite fortunate with Tori, who's been absolutely...
Oh, she's a superstar.
Absolutely. And she's taken myself and my daughter to functions before. And I've got to chat to a few players, etc. And I think it's just more about... These are people who run around and you go, oh, my God. Like, I had a chance to have a chat to Aaron Davey for 10 minutes. Like... He's still running around up in Cairns and dominating. Like he still can, Jared Rivers and these guys that I watched play finals, and you have a chat to them, and they're just people.
Yeah,
like they're genuinely interested in you. So do you play? I'm asking my daughter, May, do you play? And it's just like to see, how did you go? Like it's just general stuff. Like how did you recover? Like how did you do it week after? Like just that sort of stuff that I enjoy. When I have opportunity, I had a chat to Chris Connolly at a Melbourne function yesterday.
Yeah.
I chat to David Williams, who played in Melbourne's prelim loss against Hawthorn in '87. Like, you just like to ask them, hey, do you like the way the game's being played now? Like, what do you like? It's just those sort of things. It's not about what are the tactics, etc. Like, I was asking another guy, well, why was John Northey such a great coach? Like, because that's the stuff that we don't get to see, and you try to figure it out. Like, okay, I can see from a supporter's perspective, but you've been there, and they give you an honest answer. They don't give you the fluff that you would get from a press conference or an organised pre-game, etc. So I'm really good about interviewing players and coaches who are no longer part of the game, who give you an honest and say, look, you know what, I really love football. Or you get someone that's, you know what, I hated football. It was a job for me, and that's the stuff that I get more out of. And this podcast has had a lot to do with that as well too.
Can I ask you a question then?
Yep.
Do you watch Melbourne Football Club media things, and do you listen to AFL team official podcast channels?
No.
You don't? No. I'm the same. I'm the same because I feel like I'm not going to gain anything out of by watching something that's going to be a fluff piece to the camera. They're going to tell me some club line that if I'm a supporter, I could be disagreeing with.
Yeah, I hear David King talk about this all the time. I think Kane Corns is the big same as well. When he talks about in the US, the one thing that pisses me off a lot is this whole injury thing, with the whole cloak and daggers with injuries. Like I've got a player who's missed 11 weeks with a hamstring.
Yeah.
If they just come out and tell you that, honestly, this is what's going on, why all the the smoke and mirrors. In the US, you can't do that. If you have an injury and you hide that, you get fined an exceptional amount of money from the NFL and the NBA, I believe.
Yeah.
I think that should be happening here. And a lot of the time I won't, because it's either the same old, or I care, but I don't. Unless something is, like, as an example, Clayton Oliver one's a perfect one. Like, a lot of Melbourne people want to know what the hell's going on with it. Because it's been so long. So you might just fast forward until your question, next question, okay. And you might listen to maybe 2 minutes of a 15-minute press conference.
Right.
But I won't sit there and just go, what's going on? I don't.
But we have friends and supporters who would do that. You'd know names who do
There
that.
are. Of course there are. And there's probably people who listen to this on a regular basis that live and die by their team. And some of it see it's an outlet. Some of them see it's they say football is a religion. Hey, you know what? At least this religion doesn't cause wars. Let's call it for what it is. It's a sport. We do get highly invested in it. Everybody knows I love doing my rants after a game. And to be honest, there's been a couple of times where I've probably said something and I've finished up going, oh, probably shouldn't have said that. Because these guys are just trying to do their best. And it's probably just frustrations because we just want the best out of it.
I'm just interested.
I need to actually, because if we have a shocker, I'm not the best person to be around here for probably an hour or so afterwards.
Oh, right. Okay. See, I can distinctly remember where something changed my night. Like, I was at a friend's house, and it was a final where we lost to West Coast after the kick of the siren. That literally changed my mood of the night. I was having a great time until that. I was absolutely seething. And I just wonder, like, I don't know, I just, as a football fan, where do you rate on, like, extremes? Because I think I used to probably be a 9-10. Now I'm probably like a 6 to 7 in extremes in terms of when your team loses.
I'm a good 7.5 to 8. Yeah, I do get it pretty. I reckon it's both ends. When we lose, I get frustrated, and when we win, I get excited. And I think it depends on your team as well too. So if you've got, and this is where it's a bit different, I think, for everybody. So if your team has been successful for a long time, so I'm talking Geelong, Hawthorn, maybe not for the last couple of years, but
Richmond,
Hawthorn, Richmond to a degree, yeah.
Sydney make the finals.
I think from there, I think their supporters are quite mellow.
Okay.
I'm going to say mellow. Look, they're vocal, but they're okay. Like they're not super hardcore, but they're not over the top.
Okay.
I think teams that have been putrid for years, when their team wins, we love it. But when they lose, we take it a lot harder because all we want to see is success.
Okay.
And so I think that, especially when you've got teams, and so I can understand when I hear Essendon supporters getting peeved. Well, Essendon still refer to the baby bombers from, the 1930s.
20 years ago.
30 years ago. They're still talking about them. But they haven't had any success, and so they get really dirty when they lose, and they get really arrogant when they win.
Okay.
So yeah, and I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
I reckon there's some supporter bases I just can't stand, just the sheer level of arrogance. Some of them have got it, and some of them haven't deserved it.
Yeah.
But there's great supporters. There's some teams that you'll go to and you can have a chat and it's actually pretty good. Like the Adelaide game on the weekend, no dramas whatsoever. No dramas.
Being at a,
there was 33,000 there.
It'd be different if you're in Adelaide though.
If it was in Adelaide, you'd want to wear a suit of armour. But like there's no banter. Like there was no banter between everybody. But you get your Collingwood. Well, that's just a different kettle of fish. Like you want to talk about hardcore.
Are you angrier? But on pre-flag, were you angry when Melbourne lost? In the last couple of years, or have you been angrier earlier on as younger?
Here we go. I got angrier when Melbourne started to win. Because when you're losing and you're shit, what's there to get angry about?
Yeah.
Because you lose. If you win, it's grouse. But when you're shit, like when you're really bad, you just want some hope because, hope stands for hold on, pain ends.
Yeah.
But when you're bad, mate, and look, you'd be the same. Like when Port's been in their trough, we've spoken about it for years when the compromised drafts killed our clubs.
I tell you what, it was the most emotionally uninvested in football, 11 and 12, that I'd probably been for a long, long time.
Yeah,
We'd lose, and I'd be like, okay, all right. I wouldn't even bother going onto... Was the internet back then? Yeah, it was. I wouldn't even bother going on to, like, Google and checking the scores or AFL app. I wouldn't even bother.
A side note, do you imagine if we had to do this show by dial-up?
But yeah, I mean, that's probably when... So I had a hardcore phase and I had a checkout phase, but then I went and just sort of mellowed in the last little bit.
I also reckon it depends what's going on in your life as well too. So if you've got a family and kids and so forth, like that takes over. I like going. Like I said, I like going to the local footy now. Local footy's the grousest, bestest.
Yeah.
Like there's people in the chat here. I know half these people that join us every week. I know because I've known them through local footy and they support me and I love every single one of them. Yep. And there's people who are on here as well too that have followed us from the podcast days. Love every single one of them as well too. So, football is all about what we do. This is why we do it, because we love the game. But there are moments it's just like, I'm not really be bothered.
I think KO for me has been a big thing. I think I probably watch more games now than I ever used to because of that access.
Yeah.
Which I think I just love the game more in general than what I did. But yeah, I'm just interested as even our listeners and people listening after the show, what kind of footy fan are you?
I also think that you're you're an interesting character, full stop. But you follow a team that's not even in your own state, so I can understand. Well, I don't want to go today. Well, that's okay because the game's 8 hours away. Not as if you can go, I'm going to the footy, hun. See you tomorrow. It doesn't happen. So it's a bit different, but I get upset when I can't go to a game because I just genuinely like going to the MCG, which I'm so, and especially after we couldn't go for 2 years. I think that's also changed my view on it because I want to see my team win a premiership live. Great to see one in 2021. And people go, it doesn't count because it wasn't at the MCG. Well, that's bullshit. You go and speak to everybody in Perth who got to see it, and they reckon it was the greatest day in their lives for some of those people.
Yeah.
I just want to see one live. That's it. Yeah. I'll be content. You'd be the same. How good would it be if you go to the G this year? Port Adelaide's there.
If Valera's team, who is Collingwood, and my team made the grand final, I'm telling you now, we would. I think there's a cost that we wouldn't pay.
No, and that's what I mean. Like there's different limits to it. Your family changes things. If the whole family, like I said, it's not just me, it's my mum and my dad and my aunties, all barracked from Melbourne. So it's a collective thing. My brother, sister-in-law, we're all Melbourne. So it's good from that perspective. But that's what makes footy. I know there are some people who take it too far.
Yeah. As
we saw with Willie Rioli, etc. There's no excuse for that. But all in all, like there's 9 games a weekend. I reckon I wouldn't watch them all. It's impossible to watch them all. But I reckon I'd catch at least a quarter to 2 quarters of probably 7 games.
Yeah.
And I'll just sit there, flick and watch it. Yeah, come back, flick it. That's it. Like a Friday night game, I'll watch.
Yeah.
Your game, I'll definitely watch. If it's going to be like Friday night, Carlton Collingwood, couldn't 2 clubs that most people don't like. I don't care. It's Friday night. It's going to be a belter for the atmosphere. It's just going to be ruined by the commentators.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. And I just want to see, because it is the best sport in the world. I don't care what anyone says. It is the best sport in the world. And if people just kept their hands off rules and kept trying to sanitize the game, it would make it even better.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Peps, that was a good little chat. Sorry about that.
I just think that is probably one of the best things that we've spoken about is why do we love footy and what makes a good supporter. I was sitting next to yesterday a guy who was a trainer for the for Melbourne, and he was telling me a few things, etc. He used to be part of the cheer squad, and I couldn't understand the cheer squad. Like, well, why the cheer squad? The cheer squad's like a family. Like, these are the same people that go every week, and I've sat down there a couple of times.
And they're very serious.
And they are very serious, but they do it because they love the club. And then you see people on the on the forums, and everybody's just passionate about their club because they just want to see them. We just want to see success. That's all it is.
Yeah.
You know what? There is a time and a place to go, hey, you know what? It's just a sport.
Yeah, I think so.
But I also think though, what's made it worse is the social media aspect of it. For all its good parts, it's also very, very bad. I know on the Demonland forum and Facebook pages, you'll be my 10 goals. Who's the Nancy?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, like these guys are trying to bust their. And once I said, that's where I put my hand up and go, I've ranted a few times.
Yeah.
And I had a massive rant after the Fremantle game.
Mm.
A few expletives. I look back at that and go, a bit embarrassing.
But Peps, I think yours was also done in jest.
That one wasn't. That was
No, you were angry
pure
there.
anger. But yeah, I did the one for Geelong where I jumped in the shower. Like, take
Bit of
it
fun.
care of yourself. Like, that's a bit of fun.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing. If I had my binoculars, I would have gone crow watching on the weekend. I couldn't find any of them. Then I could have just said I can't find the Melbourne Football Club in the fourth quarter either. They weren't disappearing anyway. But no, it's a really good topic, and I'd love to really hear what the people listening to us think. What makes their ideal football fan, but also what makes the traits of ones that we don't like. Actually, no, stuff that don't like stuff. What makes the footy fan, regardless.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yep. I mean, we've all got different levels of people in our lives. We know that they are extreme and they are not as extreme, but they're whatever. Anyway, let us know. Peps, I'm conscious of time. I don't want to take into talking about the games of the round. So let's just leave it there for Jamie's first. We have a better name for it. Jamie's chat time. Chat with J-Dog and Peps.
No, it's just
Well, it's not news anymore.
Jamie's jambalaya. I don't know.
We'll workshop
The
it.
dog's bark.
Hey,
Dog's
listeners out there, if there's a name we can call this little segment, let us know.
Yep. Hey, I did actually want to have a quick chat about the games because I really
Yes.
wanted to get your opinions on a couple of these as well too. And I know the people in the chat love this part as well too because it goes absolutely berserko with the stuff as well too. But I wanted to go into the games. Look, let's belt it off really quickly. Friday night's game, Essendon versus the Doggies. Dogs by 41 points.
Essendon are just... I don't know. I
I
don't know
don't
where
get
Essendon are. I don't know. I just don't know. I honestly, I don't know how to pick Essendon. I don't understand them. I
Their-
don't know. I
Their
don't know.
season is literally about to... That's how bad they are. Look, you know, when Essendon supporters are getting stuck into the package, they're upset because they've stuck up for this bloke for at least this year, last year's package when he gets back, etc. But the package can go return to sender. That's what was coming out on the chats on the Friday night. But look, I don't want to talk about them because that results. I think they'll be good, and they made massive strides from last year to this year.
Yeah.
But the Doggies, the Bont is just a freak.
I don't.
Nibba
Yes.
is a freak.
Yes.
Cody Waitman, freak. I
Let's
think he's 18 goals in his last 5 games. Like,
Yep.
the guy can play.
Yul
Hagen,
Hagen.
oh, God. I remember when we did this a couple of years ago. I don't get it. I get it.
Mm.
And, yeah, but the Doggies, their back line is just so susceptible. Mate, if they were smart, they'd go after an Adam Tomlinson this year just to shore up their background because he wants to
Don't go talking about back lines. That's Port Adelaide's department, please.
We've got somebody else for you. But look, Doggies just have to keep winning. That's all they have to do. They just have to keep winning to potentially get a top 4 spot, which they can sneak off Melbourne if Melbourne have a couple of shockers. And the second one is that they can also get a home final as well too. So, but Bailey Smith, he's not a superstar. He's got great hair, great rig, but unfortunately, Leali is not a superstar. Sorry. I think he's got a lot of things going on in the background, and he's probably one of the worst kicks. He had a set shot on the weekend. Don't know if you saw it. 40 metres out. He missed everything. I think it landed in some bloke's pie in row double D in section 14. That's how wide it went. It was a shocker. Doggies, not too bad. Essendon, season's over. Start packing for Ibiza. What about Saturday, this game? We had a quick chat about it. Richmond,
Corker.
I didn't see the end of this, but I did see just the refreshing.
Corker.
5 goals up and lost it.
Corker.
Corker, did you see much of it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thoughts?
It was just Richmond getting back to Richmond.
Yep.
They went down. I think they dropped down by 30 odd points or something like that. I can't quite remember what the score got down to. Anyway, but Hawthorn held them. Hawthorn held them all the way until probably 12 minutes to go into the last quarter, and then Tigers went bang, 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 done, game over, and then Liam Baker with the last. So, yeah,
No Sicily, no Hawthorn. Confirmed. Confirmed. Like,
yeah.
He racked up another 10 coaches' votes. I don't know how many times he's done that this year, but geez, he's a freak. He's a freak, and he's wasted at that club.
Well, yeah.
You look all right in your colours.
Yeah. I could think of a couple, but yes. Honestly, I thought Hawks had this. In fact, all rights they should have had it, but then that fourth quarter they just literally fell asleep just at the start of it and game over.
Yep.
Richmond got once Thames gets on roll, it's a really hard thing to stop, and that's just another example of it.
666 has a massive thing to do with that, but yeah, it's just once they get out of the middle, clubs really need to sort of see what their setup is, because it's very, very attacking in the middle, but you need to I reckon teams need to have almost like a defensive four. When there's a bit of a roll on, they need to almost get a defensive four in there to stop it, get the stoppage, and then everybody can surround.
Yeah. Once
they get that flowing, it's really difficult. But hey, Richmond did their Richmond thing. Graham and Bolter, best two players for Richmond as well too. So they're looking all right, the Tigers. Hey, McWalter, reckon he'll get the gig?
No.
But who are they going to go for?
I don't know. I just don't reckon they are.
There's just something there?
Yeah, there's something there.
Well, what wasn't there was Carlton. They should have won by 171 points, not 140 to 69 being the 71 point. But we know that Charlie Curnow, he came out.
You wanted 10. You got 10.
And he had 10, and there's nothing better than a 10. Like, we don't see them enough. That's one thing footy fans like to see. Big goal kickers and kicking 10. And West Coast, you shit. And Carlton, like I said, 5 games in a row where they've won over 50 points. Will they do that against Collingwood this week?
I don't know, but and the first quarter is like 59-2.
Maybe the Little League.
Oh, dear. Hey,
starting to get that build of Gold Coast versus Collingwood up there. Oh, this is going to be a good game.
I was going to say that I think they won the third quarter, perhaps, but I don't even think they won that.
That's because Carlton only put 14 players on the park.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a grim day of football for West Coast, and I say grim on the back of that 100 and something point loss to Sydney. It was a grim day.
Shit.
It was grim. 97 points from clearances alone, Carlton kicked. Grim.
Unbelievable. I reckon there's not much to say about that game because that was. Oh. Hey, tell you what, it was one of the surprises for the weekend, but it doesn't really surprise you. I think what surprised was the score.
Mm-hmm.
Brisbane winning by 11 points, but it was almost one goal at halftime, and then Geelong played one quarter of football, came storming home in the last, and you thought they couldn't, could they? But Brisbane's defence, they are, like I said earlier in the show, flying at the moment. Danaher's playing some great footy. Dunkley makes a massive impact for that mob. Zorko is bringing no milkshakes to the yard at the moment. They just need to keep winning to get that second spot from your mob. Now, I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. They just have to keep, because if they play anywhere else outside of the Jabbertoire, they're in trouble.
Which I don't think they've got many outside of the Gabba now. No, I don't think they have. Jeez. Geelong just do this. They absolutely come good at this time of year, and they kind of scare the shit out of everyone. They start soft and then just come home hard.
You know what, though? They don't scare me this year. They don't.
You haven't played them again. You haven't played them again.
We don't have to, but they don't scare me.
Really?
Cameron, they thought was going to kick 100 goals at the start of the season. He hasn't done anything since he got knocked out by his own teammate. But even before then, he was struggling.
When did you play them? Like round 7 when they had 14 and a half players to choose from?
No, we played them after that.
You need to be scared again.
No,
Go play them again.
They don't scare me.
Okay.
They don't scare me at all.
Hate Geelong games.
No, I wouldn't want to play them in the finals, but they don't. I look at them and go, they're not like they were last year. Like last year, no one was even going to get near them. They're like Collingwood this year.
Yeah. Jekyll and Hyde to me. Jekyll and Hyde, you can get. Don't know what you're going to get.
If you play them down at GMHBA Stadium or whatever it is, the Alphabet Stadium, you're in trouble because of that ground is so thin. But anywhere else, they are so gettable. They are gettable.
Yeah.
Fremantle and Sydney. Sydney by 29. Fremantle. Oh my God. The only thing that's come good out of Fremantle in 2023 is the first round draft pick that they gave Melbourne this year.
Yep.
They've done nothing. So they're going to end up 14th, 15th, and not get rewarded for it. We get rewarded for it.
Yeah, it was it wasn't a great game.
I thought at home they've got to be a chance, especially after what happened to Sydney the week before.
No. How long is Sarong locked in that club for? Like, you just hate to see players wasting their talents. And Sarong is one of them, and the other one is the better brother of the brothers.
Brayshaw.
Yeah, the better brother.
Well, not after the game he played on the weekend, but
Yeah.
he's a gun as well too.
Like, you hate to see players like that just stuck in a
one.
team.
He's a gun.
Yeah.
I'd be going after Lockie Schultz, to be honest. If you want a hard nut pest of a small forward, I'd be going after Lockie Schultz, but I think he's extended as well too.
Yeah.
They're going nowhere in a hurry. Like they won a final last year against the Doggies, coming back from the depths of despair. They've done nothing since. There's got to be questions. Both Perth teams. I would love to know what's going over there. Could you imagine what the two boys at the Duck on the Purple Rain would be saying every week? They would be just going absolutely berserk. And I tell you what, they would not be short of any expletives either.
Do you think they're getting a bit of a soft run from the media
Oh, I don't
over
think-
here?
Oh, well, over here, yeah, because Batavian Perth, they're not getting a soft run. The only thing stopping Fremantle from having a bad run of the media is West Coast.
Yeah.
I reckon there's a lot of questions being asked over there. But look, Sydney's season's over, but they're going to probably cause a few issues in the back end of the season. So this is what's actually good with about 5 rounds to go. There are teams that are not going to make finals, but they're going to either put people on ice or they're going to do whatever they can to stuff anybody up.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool. Your game, 2-point thriller. Jamie Elliott did it again. Dacos did it again. From your opinion, tell us about what happened.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Players who can't kick goals, you pay to do it. You don't do it, you don't leave it down to a... I know people on the Big Footy Forum are bagging out the umpires and this and that and blah, blah, blah. It was our third quarter. The third quarter, we probably should have been, like I said, coulda, shoulda, woulda. 25, 30 points up, but we just kept choking with 30 metres out. Lots of players responsible. And I think we're in a little bit of trouble now. Charlie Dixon hurt his knee again. Scott Lycett, Ruckman out. And we've lost Willie Rioli for 2 weeks with a slap. And we could be in a little bit of trouble. When your Ruckman goes out, we haven't got a backup Ruckman, which has always been a weakness.
Do not speak to me like that.
So, Jamie,
Do not speak to me like that.
Willie Rioli got 2 weeks for a love tap.
Yes.
Dusty got off.
Yeah.
Come on, Jamie.
It was going to be a topic I was going to go with. It was going to be a topic I was going to go with tonight, but I thought, I'll just talk about something else. But
bullshit. That is what I'm talking about, the consistency side of things. I'm not talking about the tribunal again tonight.
There's a bit of play.
That should be thrown out.
Yeah, well, they're going to challenge it, and I
2
just
weeks for that, Jamie. And Dusty, they got Dusty's wrong. It was the Dusty rule.
So then ours is right then.
No, it should have been one.
Yeah, okay.
At the most one. That's
Yeah.
not worth two.
Thank you, Craig, for letting me know about Dixon and Lycett. I haven't checked up, but yeah, I thought I was a bit worried. Anyway, no, Peps, it was a great game. I mean, what can you say? Two teams going for it. They talk about finals football. I don't know what finals football actually means. I've seen lots of games where the pressure's been high, players don't get a chance, and it's just what it is. That was a great game.
Finals football is
High pressure.
high pressure,
Yeah.
collision, scoring. You know a finals footy, mate.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
You're jacking it up another level. That's what it is.
And
Like
I know
every contest means something.
both sides would have been wrapped with the win. Both sides,
Yep.
and I mean, someone's got to lose, and we'll see them again hopefully in the finals. Simple as that.
Yeah, no one's won a premiership in July ever.
No.
You want my three things how you stop Collingwood?
How?
All right. First of all, something that you did. You have someone on Nick Dacos.
Yes.
You've got to. And it's not because of him as a player. It's how he runs and links up around the ground. Now, if you can stop that, it means somebody has to then take that spot where he's normally going to be.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And it just nullifies. That's because he's a gun. We know he's a gun. But it just goes to show. It also, the quality of your tag is another thing as well, too. And you've got a ripper.
Yeah.
But if you can quell his influence, like I didn't really see much of him in the first half. That's when I had to leave.
Mm.
It was awesome. Awesome. And that's when I think that you were in it. The second thing that you need to do is you need to have two defensive half wingers, half forwards, who play defensive roles on their halfbacks.
Yeah.
So the halfbacks who run off, you need to quell their run. You need them because that's where they get all their drive from. All right? On top of that, what you need to do is you need to get in their face. So you can't let them come at you because they'll slice through. But if you can run at them and influence their decision making, you may not get the first one, you may not get the second one, but it puts the pressure on the third as well too. And so we saw that Brisbane did that and Melbourne have done it. Their only two losses for the year is when they put the pressure on the ball carrier. So instead of sitting and waiting, they actually went at them. All right.
Yeah.
And the third, so that was 3A and 3B. 2A and 2B. The third one, even though I've got four, is, and you were doing this for a while, which is actually which was a really good option, and I missed it, especially when it was wet. What you decided to do was instead of kicking the ball in the air, you were just belting it forward as far as you possibly could and letting your players run onto it.
Yeah.
Because their their halfbacks run so far the other way, if you can get it past over their zone or through their zone, they don't have much defending it. And if you're not kicking it in the air towards Darcy Moore, you've got a massive opportunity. Because Jeremy Howe won't run. He's not a runner. He's more of that floaty Jake Lever type. So you quell Dacos. You put the defensive pressure on their halfbacks.
So you make Maynard, Murphy, and Noble accountable.
Yeah, you've got to make them accountable because they are the ones who generate the run.
Mm-hmm.
The third thing that you need to do is put pressure on them as well. So when they're coming towards you, go at them.
Yeah.
But you need to have the next line and the line after that all in the same way.
Yep.
And then kick through or over their zone.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can do that and get it into the naked space behind, you're a massive chance to win contests. And that's what you were doing for like I said, into that first half. I missed the second half. That's what you were doing, and it was very, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, that was a good game.
Sunday's game, really, really quickly. GWS, like I said, we've spoken about them so far. It's just all the people who've had a lazy couple of years outside of Toby Green were brilliant for them on the weekend. You know, Whitfield, Toby Green again, Kelly, Sam Taylor down back.
Elijah Hollands at the front.
Yep, then you got Hollands down the front. You've got Jesse Hogan pulled out. I thought that was a massive, not going to win it. Toby Bedford steps up. Tom Green isn't playing at the moment, so they're doing everything right. And I think Adams Kingsley, right team, right coach. It might not happen this year. There are a chance to definitely make finals. If they don't, I'd be waiting for next year, especially if they've got a couple of high draft picks. They might be able to do something with that as well too. Gold Coast, they're just in a holding pattern until they determine who their coach is going to be for next year.
Yeah, Lukosius kicked 3 more goals. Like, yeah, he's
He's
probably
got to be all Australian squad at least this year. Like,
Lukosius and Powell are probably the only. Oh, for me, as a neutral, are probably the only 2 that I'm really keen in.
oh, what up
Gold
there?
Coast. Yeah,
No,
I watched Lukosius,
Yeah, Lukosius is a gun.
and I suppose Raul as well. Actually,
They're just they've actually got a really nice little core. Ballard is good.
Flanders.
Yeah,
Wicks,
they
Collins,
just
yeah.
need someone to harness all that energy and bring it forward. Melbourne versus Adelaide. Like I said, I was at this game. Melbourne pretty much dominated for 3 quarters, I would say, and then
decided to do what you did the week before.
yeah, for the week, but Adelaide did it for 4 goals in 7 minutes.
Yeah,
In the last quarter, and that was brutal. I don't think Melbourne fell asleep, but Adelaide just went, let's just have a crack. Let's just go through the middle, take everybody on. Isaac Rankin, my goodness, haven't seen him play too much live. He is their best player. They missed Rory Laird big time as well too. So they honestly could have won and should have won probably.
yeah.
But I think the good thing with Melbourne's win was Chandler kicked 3, Van Rooyen kicked a couple, Brayshaw was back to his old. Petrarca had a quieter day. Gawn, amazing again. Because Pickett, like he's had, I reckon for 2/3 of this season, he's been average at best. And he'd admit it. But his last 2 weeks, they've got him up around the ball a little bit more. They've got him out of that forward pocket. And he's dangerous. Anything can happen, whether it's a chase down, whether it's a beautiful pickup, deft touches. Yeah, it was probably his best game he's played outside of the game at the start of the year as well too. But there's a lot to like about Adelaide. I'm just concerned when Tex finishes up.
All right, don't rant.
Mhm.
Quick question.
Yep.
Is Melksham a lock for your forward line now?
He should be.
Okay.
Yeah, he should be. And I'd be dropping Ben Brown for Joel Smith. And say, Joel, I want you to be the lead-up man because he's got great hands. He came on super sub 2 weeks in a row. Week before down back, this week up forward, and pretty much saved and won the game to a degree. So he should be a lock. And last, we've spoken about this game before. It was the it could have been the shame at the Dome.
It
Shame
was
at the stadium.
a hard watch.
It was a hard watch. There's things that you shouldn't do in life. Take your wife shoe shopping. That's something to avoid. The level 1 at Myers, perfume section, avoid that. Also avoid this game if you can because it was putrid. The only 2 people who are watching it are St Kilda and North supporters. But there's not really much to say about this game at all. It's just
No, hey, look.
you have the KO, you have the full game, then you have the KO mini.
Yeah.
Now they've got the KO bite.
Yes.
I'm waiting for the reduced version of that.
Well, that was after last week's game. That was the West Coast North game, wasn't it? Oh, sorry, Hawthorn North Melbourne game.
That's this week.
Well, there's some highlights. Higgins kicked 2 goals. Owens kicked 2 goals. Thomas for
My boy,
North
my
kicked
boy.
3.
Yes.
Larky kicked 3.
Larky. What a waste. You know, you were talking about Caleb Sarong being a waste.
Yeah.
Nick Larky being a waste.
Mm.
He is at
Wasted
a
there.
club. He's wasted. He is a gun. And considering he was like a pick in the 40s, they've done really, really well. So I don't think North are a lot better than West Coast.
Yep.
And I think they'll rise pretty quick up the ladder as well too. I think once they get some more stocks in, there's a lot to like. They've got a nice little core, but it's just going to take time.
All right, I'll say one good thing about St Kilda.
What?
It's good to see Jack Billings play.
Yeah.
He hasn't been much around the club. He's been a bit maligned with the supporters. It's good to see him have a run.
Yeah, he'll retire at the end of the year. And that is the round 19 review for the AFL 2020 season. Scoreboard style. Hey, J-Dog, really quickly, what game are you looking forward to this week in 1 week at a time?
There's a couple of crackers.
There's some rippers, aren't there?
Let's go. I mean, Carlton Collingwood to kick off the week is pretty good.
That's the Royale
That's
with cheese up there. That's the Royale with cheese.
But then this week we've got the showdown.
Oh, Well,
on
like I
Saturday
said,
night.
there's going to be games like look at some of these games if I quickly whip through them. Right?
Richmond, Melbourne. That's a cracker.
That's going to be an interesting one.
Oh,
A few
Northern
people have gone,
Eagles.
Richmond. I reckon Richmond are a massive chance to win that one. I'll be honest. They're just doing something right at the moment. Collingwood, Carlton, definitely. Geelong win again. Western Bulldogs GWS at Mars Stadium at Ballarat. So that's not even at Doggies' home ground. That could shake up. I reckon whoever loses that, GWS, sorry, have to win
Yeah.
to stay in finals. Doggies, they need to win. I wouldn't mind actually seeing the Doggies lose, just to give us more of a breathing space. The Q Clash is on as well too.
Win for the Lions. Yep.
Eston Sydney. Just an interesting read on that one. Showdown. Hawthorn Saints. Jeez, imagine if Hawks beat the Saints. Jungle Drums will be asking for Ross, won't they? Melbourne, Richmond we've spoken about. And the Harley Reid Cup is on last game in the graveyard shift. I reckon you'll see two teams tank. But not deliberately. They're just both shit. North will win that one over in Perth. You heard it now. You heard it now.
All right. Can I just two things about
Yeah,
two things that are not football related?
Yeah, go for it.
Did you watch any of the Open over the weekend?
The golf, you mean?
The golf, yes.
No, I didn't get to see much of it, which is a shame. I actually like watching the Open.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
I love the course. I just love the greens and the fact they have like two holes using the one green.
Yep.
That sort of stuff.
Links course, tricky course. Lots of people in trouble. But Australian Justin Day tied second. So
Yeah,
well
and
done.
then he's 17th in the world.
Yeah, that's
After
good.
that. Yeah, it was a good. And you know what? Even better, the winner, left-hander. Only the third left-hander to win it, outside of Mickelson and some other New Zealand bloke, which I've never heard about.
And the other piece is Australia retaining the Ashes.
Yes, stick that up your ass.
And it probably was the highlight for me is Piers Morgan. Like he's
Here we go. Money talk.
The Ashes. Here come the Ashes. Dollar bills. Sorry.
If you got Twitter, jump on and even on news things, look for Piers Morgan tweets over the last three, probably the whole Ashes series.
He's
They are just,
I love him.
they're just the funniest stuff. He's such a salty old man.
But you know the funny thing is, you know how he's complaining about how the Ashes were lost because of rain?
Yeah.
10 years ago, he put a tweet out, hey, the rain, woo, we won the Ashes, rained out. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Ashes have been retained because of the rain. No, you won the first two tests because your team was shit. All right? And you had a whinge over Johnny Bairstow still. Like,
Oh, so good.
Is it?
So good. Anyway, so there's some good things there. And Jonas Vingegaard won the Tour de France over the weekend as well.
oh, beautiful. It's just, you know what? It's just lace out. It's sport out. It's just
Oh,
life.
and Daniel Ricciardo returned to Formula 1 grid.
What? J-Dog, we need to have another show.
I know. Lots of podcasts there.
Lots of podcasts there. Hey, listeners, that's it. That's our round 19 wrap up and review for a massive week of footy. Join us. Shorter, condensed versions of Tipped Out now. So they're not going to be as long. They're just going to be short, just time permitting. We're getting towards the end of the season, so it's just more about who's going to win and why. Nothing more than that. But just tune in, get the hits up. Give us a like, give us a review. J-Dog, where's the fantails? Bo's asking, where's the fantails?
Hold on.
Oh, hold on. He's getting the fantails. Everybody has been asking about the fantails. Bo's been hanging around for an hour and 13 minutes. Now, he wants his
Fantails are
fantails.
here.
He just opened it up. He wasn't here for the sexy mo and the new haircut. Have you
All
got
right.
a fantail? Or I won't go with the answer until the end.
Don't go the answer at all, Peps. This is for
Okay.
this is people playing along. All right, who am I? Born in New South Wales in 1962, he is a Golden Globe and Academy Award nominated Australian film director, screenwriter, and producer. His first three films, Strictly Ballroom 92, Romeo and Juliet 96, and Moulin Rouge 2001, were dubbed the Red Curtain Trilogy as they all fell under this particular style of filmmaking. His latest offerings have been Australia in 2008, starring Nicole Kidman, and The Great Gatsby in 2013, starring Leonardo DiCaprio as the lavish Gatsby. Who am I? Leave it there. Let's see if the
Leave it there.
listeners get in there.
Who am I? All right, if you know, we will save the answer for next week.
Well, we're not going to say the answer on the show. You're just going to have to be putting it in the comments, or
Yeah,
you just
in the comments.
in the car on the way to work tomorrow. You go, that person.
Get on the Lace Out page. Hey, J-Dog.
Yes.
I'd like to talk to you again too. And it's great to have all the listeners. The chattersphere has been going berserko. So good to see. More importantly, we'll be back next Monday. There's only 5 weeks of the regular season to go, and then it's finals action. The footy gets better, and we don't. Have a great week. I hope your team wins. J-Dog, more importantly, from the Lace Out team, for everybody listening to us live, how do you, superstar Port Adelaide and all-round good bloke, want your footy?
I want it to lace out.
Have a great week, listeners. Hope your team wins, and thank you for joining us live.
See you, listeners.